There, YouTube. Heir of Carthage here. I'm going to bring you some Rome Total War online commentary shots here. And I'm playing as Carthage once again, and my opponent has chosen Numidia. Whenever you play against the lesser factions, I find it to be kind of polite to not bring like an all-elite army. However, you don't want to underestimate Numidia, as they do have some skirmishing strength, and their camel riders receive a bonus in the desert, which is probably one of the things that my opponent is going to be counting on in this battle. I brought 4 regular slingers, 2 Balearic slingers, I have 6 pointy infantry, and then I have 3 Sacred Band Cav, I have 3 Long Shield Cav, which are now here, and then backing them all up I have 2 Round Shield Cavalry, so I've brought a very large cavalry contingent. And the idea behind this is that my opponent's camel riders would have a good chance against any of my cavalry due to the camels scaring horses, even my heavy cav here. But the idea with my light cav is they can hunt down any of his Numidian light cav and also chase off all of his missile units if given the opportunity. And if I can take care of his missiles, then this will be a short and very easy fight, as the Carthaginian infantry, even pointy infantry, is better than the best infantry that the Numidians can field. Now, I do have to wonder if maybe my opponent shouldn't have maybe fielded desert infantry, or at least some of it, since he's in the desert. I'll go ahead and hit play now that I'm running forward. Let's take a look at my opponent's army. He's got 2 slingers up front, 6 archers. It looks like he's got 4 camel riders and 2 long shield cav. Also, he's got 2 Numidian cav, so we both have 8 cavalry units. But I have 6 infantry to his 4, and my infantry... Why is it in fast forward? I thought I put it in play. His infantry is qualitatively inferior to my own. I say that. He's put a lot of upgrades on them. He would have been better to just get more of them, because then their pillow would have caused more damage. Still have them be good upgrades, but just more of them. So immediately I recognize that my round shield cav can keep pace with his Numidian cav. A lot of players don't bring light cavalry in Rome Total War, which I think is folly. But I do like to bring light cavalry, and you can easily chase down enemy light cavalry with it. And round shield cav is probably one of the better melee light cavalry units, because they have the sword, and when they get into a melee, they'll destroy most any other light cavalry unit. They're not good on the charge, though. And now I'm going to rush his army with my infantry, because I want to displace his missile units and cause them to either be killed as I move forward or to rout. He is going to lose his Pilla and get a fair number of kills, and his cavalry is now going to come hunting my heavy Sacred Band Cav. Now my micro is focused elsewhere, so he is going to get the charge on me here, but I go ahead and just engage my Sacred Band Cav with his, to try and just pin his cavalry down for a moment, as I don't expect the infantry fight will take too terribly long. And over here you can see that I'm using the numeric superiority of my cavalry at this point to try and mop up some of his slingers and archers. That way, if I lose my cavalry, he will not have as many missile units with which to fire at my men. Now, his men do have a lot of upgrades, and you can see that they're holding out fairly well, all things considered, against my pointy infantry. Plus, I forgot to take my pointy infantry out of guard mode, so they won't be attacking particularly fast. He surrounded my Sacred Band cavalry and murdered them. The camels can easily murder heavy cav in the desert if they get a good position. But as you can see, I'm just chasing off his archers, his skirmishers, and my infantry is beating his, even with his little hammer and anvil assault here. He's going to lose this infantry fight. Unless he acted decisively with his cav right here, which he didn't. He started to chase my cav. I almost kind of think that he should have gone after my infantry there, but I'm not sure. It's hard to say. Here I'm trying to lure some of his cav into my spears and into the infantry fight, so I kind of swing around behind my infantry. Not all of my cavalry quite gets the orders. His cavalry is also able to slip through, so a lot of my cavalry is going to get caught and killed, but I still have other cav too that he's having to chase down elsewhere. So, and then these cav right here were chasing off some more of his slingers, I think. Anyway, I've got my point infantry running to join the cav fight. I did actually win one of the cav fights right here, and now I'm trying to reinforce my cavalry here, who are most likely losing. And when my pointy infantry get there, I don't even put them into phalanx, just because I want them to really put the numbers down on this Numidian cav and get these guys routed. So I do manage to rout one of the units of camel riders, camel riders, and then the other one gets away along with the Numidian general, who's going to go after my Sacred Band. But he routed.
He does not stand, but runs away.
And it's at this point when I've destroyed my opponent's infantry, all except for this one last little piece of resistance. They're going to fall soon, but my opponent has a lot of skirmishers left in the field. The disadvantage he's going to be at, however, is that my remaining cavalry is going to be faster than his camels, although you can see this unit right here routed due to probably archer fire and being chased by camels. But I have all my infantry left, basically. I mean, they have taken damage, but I basically have them all here. So I can protect my cavalry, and I can also protect my my slingers if I want to, which I don't necessarily want to. I'll be able to keep my men alive better. Now, he definitely wants to take out my cavalry, because then he could just sit around and shoot me all day with his remaining missile units. So I do need to protect the remainder of my cavalry. I had some long shields that came back from routing. They are under threat from these camel riders, so I'm going to try and peel away from them. The camel riders are good, but they are slow. Camel cavalry is just slower than horse cav, so you can use that to your advantage. So here I'm going to peel away all my remaining cav, run for cover on my infantry. You can see him back here regrouping all of his missile units, and I can't quite charge them because he does have camels remaining out here. And they're going to go after these long shield cav that I have sitting out here. I really ought to be getting these guys out of here, but I don't remember if I recalled them or not. Apparently not. So I'm going to let these guys die for the glory of Carthage. Good job, men. Well done. And they were glowing while they did it. So some of my opponent's other camels got too close to my infantry and routed. So now my cavalry is free and able to go after all of his missiles that are up there. I am going to use my phalanx, though, as a guard to my cav, as I definitely want to keep the remainder of them alive. It will give me a decisive advantage in being able to remove his missiles without having to chase them with infantry. So here I'm going to just full-on charge my pointy infantry. If you look where I've clicked the... Actually, I'm pushing the spacebar and it doesn't show where I'm clicking orders. Never mind. I'm running my infantry to a point that's beyond the enemy slingers just to make them start running, and then you can see that my infantry is screening against these Numidian camels. So now my opponent's not going to be able to effectively attack my cavalry with them, and they're going to get caught at my pointy, and even without the phalanx mode, all of his troops are just going to rout because they're regrouped and weak. So now you can see that I'm just causing a mass rout amongst his men and just chasing them down. His cavalry way back here behind my lines is way too far away to lend any hand. And at this point, things just really go south for my opponent if they hadn't already. So I'm going to put it in fast forward, let it go here. There's a lot of little remaining units all around the battlefield that I have to mop up, and some of his units come back from routing, so you're going to see me run back off this way, and take out these Numidian camel riders out here. I guess we'll watch that charge. I was thinking you could click on them. There we go. So those guys will get whooped by my round shields just because they're extremely tired. And then I've also got some Sacred Band there as well. And then he's got some units that came back from routing on this side, so I'll just quickly run them down. I'll let you watch that as well. It's not much to watch. But good game to my opponent. He did leave the game, though, about 30 or 40 seconds back. I don't remember when it was. It's not the best manners to do that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to be a jerk either, so I don't really hold anything against him for that. But it does make you have to chase down all these AI units that kind of run around, so that's why it's not necessarily the best manners. But good game to my opponent. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll try and bring you some more of these other Total War games from time to time, even though I am definitely going to be showing a majority of Shogun 2, just because that's probably my favorite Total War game out right now. There's the results, and stay tuned. Alright, YouTube, Heir of Carthage here, and yes, holy crap, I know this is Medieval 2 Total War. You know, I figured I got this game for free, basically, whenever I mean, it's not technically free because I was buying Napoleon Total War Imperial Edition, so it wasn't really free, but it kind of was, you know, it comes along free with the game. So I figured I would try and bring you some battles from this, because it seems like a lot of you like these past Total War games. Now, this is still not my favorite Total War game. However, I have to admit that for the first time ever, I played a campaign on this the other night. I was playing as the French, and as much as I hate to admit it, it was actually kind of fun. It wasn't great, but it was pretty fun. If you like Rome Total War, even though you don't like the time period, you might as well at least give the campaign in this game a try, because in a lot of ways it's very similar to that good old Rome Total War campaign that you like, except with some improvements that make it a little more playable, in my opinion. Now, I still like the Rome Total War campaign better, but like I said, this one's very similar. Of course, different factions, different time period, but it has some features like being able to train more than one unit per turn in a settlement and stuff like that. That kind of makes the game move a little better, in my opinion. So it was kind of fun. I got called on a crusade to go take Antioch, but the Poles beat me there, and then of course I went and stole Jerusalem, and needless to say, through my wonderful diplomacy, I managed to make the Papal States unhappy, and so there was a bunch of Inquisitors in my territory. Anyway, I thought it was kind of entertaining. Let me show you the Byzantine troops I brought. I'm playing as the Byzantine, my opponent's playing as the Turks, so I thought this would be a nice historical matchup. My opponent asked what the rules were, and I just said, please don't bring any guns. But, you know, I was okay with artillery. And he asked me about Nafatoons, which I've only seen once in another video. So I was like, yeah, it's okay if he brings those guys. It won't be that bad. So I've got 3 of these Byzantine Guard archers. These guys are pretty slick. They've got some nice armor, and you know, they had some good stats. And then right behind them I've got some Byzantine spearmen. These guys are pretty much Chaffa, throwaway, anti-cav units. And then behind them I've got the meat of my army, which is this Varangian Guard. These guys are some angry axemen. You can see they're already taunting the enemy. And then over here I've got these dismounted Latincon, I guess is how you say that. They're basically just heavily armored knights, armed with sword and shield. And back here I have 4 units of Cataphractoi. So back from Rome Total War by popular demand. Then I've got my general, and then hidden in these woods over here I've got 2 units of horse archers. These guys are pretty cool. They even have like little twisty mustaches, some of them. So you can't beat that. And it is very foggy, and all you can see through the fog is this incoming fiery substance, which does a good job of burning a bunch of my Varangian Guard to death. So there they go. So seeing that my opponent was launching fiery doom at me, I decided I should charge, but I couldn't really see the enemy army. Let's I'm going to pause it actually so we can take a look at it just real quick. This is what my opponent has waiting for me. He's got all these Ottoman infantry, which are missile infantry. It looks like they're just archers. And then right behind them all, he's got like a whole entire freaking line of Nafatoons, which these guys are like basically hurling, you know, their version of a grenade. And so these guys are all archer infantry. And then right here in the center, he's got some heavy infantry too. Let's see, that's his Ottoman infantry. That's the heavy stuff. Ottoman infantry. Or is it just saying that on all of them? These guys look different to me. Yeah, these guys look different. I don't know, maybe it's because I have it on pause. No? Maybe they're just like a later period Ottoman infantry or something. Anyway, these guys are very well armored archers, apparently. And I'm assuming that they have decent melee stats for archers. There they are, unleashing volleys towards me. And then my opponent has, here in these woods, he's got some basically cataphracts of his own. These heavily armored cav. And then he's got, it looks like 2 of these catapult units. Trebuchet.
We must act now.
And then his general is in another one of those heavy cav units. And then he's also got some horse archers over here on the flank. So yeah, you can't see much. My horse archers are exchanging fire with his men now. So, I mean, I think my horse archers are better, just qualitatively speaking. And I saw these missile infantry, and I was thinking, hey, I can just charge the crap out of these guys with my Cataphractoi, and it'll probably just immediately destroy them. And although the charge is pretty good, my Cataphractoi get in here, I should have pulled them out immediately, and then followed up with my infantry, but I kind of left them in here, and I didn't realize, like, I figured they would just plow right through these guys because they're Cataphractoi, but they didn't. And so the Nafatoons are now going to start hurling their grenades, so I went ahead and charged through, so that I would get the Nafatoons engaged in melee, but in a lot of places that's not happening. And you'll see these nice little fiery grenades, and then check that out, like a quick hit from that artillery. So my opponent is cutting my troops down at an alarming rate, and then he's got more Nafatoons right here, and I think he's charging forward some. I thought he had some heavy infantry somewhere. Yeah, right here he's got some heavy infantry. These Hashashim or whatever, however you say it. I've got all my infantry engaging, and I'm working some outflanking maneuvers. I've got some my dismounted Latincon running to get around this flank, but they are under fire. And over here on this flank, my dismounted Latincon have already begun the outflanking. So I don't really know strategy for this game or know much about the units, but I do know that I need to outflank my opponent because his units aren't dying fast enough to please me. And my Cataphractoi are getting destroyed, and my opponent still has his Cataphracts basically hidden. So I've still got to deal with them. Now, fortunately for me, he charged his own heavy cav forward into the big blob, and that's going to help me out. Now, my archers are back here just firing shots into his heavy cav. I'm trying to lessen their numbers, but they're a long ways away. They're armored. My general is over here, still safe. And then I started a melee fight with his horse archers, figuring that mine looked better armored and armed. So I was thinking maybe I can just destroy his horse archers in a melee fight. And eventually I do win that fight, so there's that engagement. I love the fog too. I thought it added like kind of a cool effect to the battle because I couldn't see what my enemy had waiting for me, and then it turned out to be this like absolutely atrocious burning death. And some of you might say, yeah, your opponent's army is really unbalanced. It's actually kind of fun. You know, I really enjoyed this battle. I had a good time, and, you know, it's just kind of cool watching the effects and seeing the Nafatoons hurl all their crap at me. I know you didn't get to see too many of the Nafatoons, but trust me, they got some nice grenade shots, and you can see some of them still are hurling stuff back over here. I brought in my cataphracts that came back from routing, but check them out getting hammered by those grenades. I've got this unit of General's Bodyguard that I'm coming from behind with right here. And I'm going to charge into the backs of all these Nafatoons and try and silence them because these guys are destroying me. Check that out. These guys would be freaking awesome in a siege, I'm sure.
My lord, only half our force remains.
So here you can kind of see the battle from above. I only have half my men left, but these Varangian Guard that I have in the center, these guys are bloody tough. They're heavily armored. Their axes probably have an armor penetrating effect, I would assume. And they're going to get the job done. I can depend on these guys. They have a few upgrades to kind of make them a little stronger. So that's what's going on there. I'm still firing at some of the enemy units here. You can see my cataphractoid. No, this is my General's Bodyguard, which is basically a cataphractoid. It looks like my own arrows are hitting my guys too.
If we remain true and wholehearted,
is that my general? Because that guy looks pretty cool.
Ours.
So let's see what's going on the other flank. Looks like over here I'm about to start winning stuff. I'm going to charge forward these dismounted Latincon and some of my spears. These guys have all come back from routing. I'm going to try and take out this Hashashim right there, or whatever you say. I can't say it right probably, but oh well. Pretty sweet battle actually. I enjoyed it. And then I've got my horse archers running off his catapults. They finished off the enemy horse archers in melee. So much like I do in Shogun 2 Total War, I end up using my horse archers for a little bit of melee work against these light units. So they're actually going to come in pretty darn handy. And then my opponent forgot about his heavy cav over here, so I just started raining down pain with my Byzantine Guard archers. And these guys are actually having quite an effect on this unit, even though it's heavily armored. So I was pretty surprised by the strength of their missile attack. You can see the arrows and the blood and everything hitting there. I guess Medieval 2 is like one of the few games that came with blood effects without a mod. It's kind of neat, actually. I mean, I don't want the game to be like all disgusting and gory, but it adds a nice effect. Yeah, Heir is saying something nice about Medieval 2, so don't worry, the world's not ending. So the battle's pretty much over. Here comes some of my cataphractoi, and I'm going to try and charge down these remaining enemy heavy cav. Hope you enjoyed this battle. I thought it was pretty cool. Get you some close-ups here, and I'll keep trying to every now and then bring you these views from older Total War games. Maybe next time I'll try and get some Napoleon and Empire footage. So in any case, hope you enjoyed this. Heir of Carthage signing up for now. I'll show you the results screen. That was a fun battle. It's kind of a weird, different battle. Not what I was expecting, so I enjoyed it.
The enemy general lies dead. Good riddance to that desert dog.
Desert dog.
His death will break his immense resolve.
Sounds a little bit racist, but it's kind of funny there. Desert dog. Oh, it's not as good as the Roman chicken line from Rome Total War, but it was pretty funny.
This is a
He had some Nafatoons that came back from routing that I just crushed right there.
Men of great virtue and valor.
Yes, valor. Great virtue and valor. I love the over-exaggerated voice. So I got one more kill than my opponent, but I did have a lot more men than him, and that's the only reason why I won. My opponent killed like half of my men. So yeah, it was a pretty bloody battle. Let's take a look at some of the statistics and see how my men did. Let's see, it says casualties inflicted. What are they? These must be my horse archers here. Wow, they inflicted a pretty good deal of casualties. My Varangian Guard didn't do nearly so good as I hoped. Casualties inflicted. No,